Hello everyone, so this is Francis and today I'll be showing you Flamingo by Ted Grouya as interpreted by Paulina Nogueira. Now know this, that first I'm not camera trained at all, I don't understand the concept of framing. And second of all, I consider myself to be an eternal scholar, a student. So if any of this is wrong, take this with a rock of salt, not a grain of salt. So, and that's the first thing. Second of all, I think that I heard this before that a student, to know that he's mastered a concept, he's got to be able to teach it. So if any of this is good, you'll be the judge of it. But I hope it's good. Okay, so I think that I want to teach not just with a tablature, but also showing you a little bit of what I understood of it. Because not only does it help memory, like memorizing things, when you actually understand what's going on in a song, the actual grips, the shapes, helps memory so much. When my students are like, okay, you showed me all of this, there's a nice set of numbers here on the tablature, but what does it mean? How can I memorize these 2 lessons from now? And all I say is there's a concept of form, a minor second in G, A minor go into the fifth, which is the D, go into the G, maybe go into the relative minor, which actually happens to be the progression of the B section of this tune. So when you put all of that into account, it actually helps memory greatly. Okay. Second of all, the other thing, oh my God, the other thing is that understanding the musical artistic concept actually helps with enjoying, the aesthetic satisfaction that comes from actually getting to that kernel of truth that is behind a piece of art, right? And when you turn around, you look around, you see there's other beautiful people, fellow musicians that actually understood it themselves, and you're all in this beautiful place of understanding together. And that's the connecting force of music and understanding music. And I want to be a purveyor of that, so I'm just doing my part as a student to be with you in understanding this beautiful thing by Paulina Nogueira. So my point being that the more people you can share this with, the better. So all of these wonderful things happen more, I guess, if you subscribe and share this with people. So that would be my hope, just for all of us as a student community. So like and subscribe to give you the YouTube motto. Like, share, and subscribe. But with all of that junk out of the way, let's get to the tune. The tune starts with, okay, what we have here is a little descending bass with chords that change. So you have to think of your hands as having separate functions. The left hand is doing little chord shapes, and the right hand is doing this bass descending. So what we start with is a triad right here, being a kind of you have to think of it as like a C sharp minor triad, with a B bass on the 4th string, 7th fret. Okay, so this is all that happens. You have a bass here, the E bass, and then you want to play all of this together. So okay, and always Paulina Nogueira plays it with a thumb here. Okay, I find that not very congenial for my hand, but different anatomies, different strokes for different folks. I play with a ring finger. The point is if it sounds decent, so I hope it does. So okay, all it did there is you move the bass from the 9th fret to the 8th fret. That's all that happens here. Okay, so I hope this is self-explanatory. What it does with the left hand, it just moves by one semitone and then goes back into the 4, 5, 6 frets on the respectively 1st, 2nd, and 3rd string. But I will have also graphics that show the basic grips, so you don't have as many problems figuring out what's going on. Okay. Now I would consider this harmonically you could think of it as like a C diminished sort of thing. This is the harmony of it all. And then it goes into B minor, B flat diminished, F sharp minor 7th, B 7th. This is the harmony basically. So E moving to an E with a flat 5th, moving to a C diminished, moving to a B minor, to a B flat diminished, to an F sharp minor, to a B 7th. Now to get to what we're doing, this is the C diminished section of the thing. Now everything here remains the same except the melody at the top, the singing part, actually moves down by 1 semitone each time you do it. So it moves from 4th fret to 3rd to 2nd. That's all that's going on here. So I hope that's easy, but it is. I mean, like, then moving on to the B triad, B minor triad, right here. So 2nd, 3rd, and 4th on 1st, 2nd, 3rd string respectively, and the bass has moved down to 6th fret. I'm sorry, on the 4th string. And you want to alternate between 0 and 2 on the 1st string, so between E and F sharp. Also, same thing as before, but you want to think of this as like a little. You could think of it as like a F sharp triad, major triad, if you will. So it's like from 1st string to 3rd string is frets 2, 2, and 3, right? So you want to roll your index finger to achieve that alternation between E and F sharp on the 1st string again. Okay, and the second time you do it, you want to lower the bass by 1 semitone, finally reaching that 5th fret on the 4th string. Now we get to this, which is an F sharp minor 7th. It's like an altered thing. Okay. And it's the equivalent of playing a little nice 5th chord at the end. It's like to create a little bit of tension, to throw yourself into that A section. So basically all we have is this final shape here. Yeah. Okay, which is on with the bass on the 6th fret for 5th string, right? Yeah, which leads us to the A section. The A section will be repeated twice, and the second time around there's going to be a little different ending, but we see this in jazz all the time. Is A and then A prime, a second A, right? Which is just a little variation at the end to throw us into the B section then, which we'll see later. But then it starts with just with a open B string, 2nd string. Now this is, okay, these videos are going to be, by the way, very entry level, because I want ideally a lot of people to just tune in, and then you can skip the easy parts, but I believe that each tune can teach a lot of different things to a lot of different people, so I just go very basic. So cage system, it means that all of the major shapes at the beginning of the fretboard, the open chords, as it were, they can be turned into bar chords, and this is major news for a lot of young students, because like, you can do it with E, and everybody's like, okay, this is the place of power chords. Sorry. Oh, that was, okay, awful. But yeah, you can do it E and A, but then you can do it with any other shape. So of course you can do it, for example, with C. Right, this is C shape, right? And you just move that down to an E. Moved it up, actually. Move it down the fretboard and move it up in pitch to an E. But then it's playing a very simplified version, okay? So you can think of it as like a C sharp minor or an E, you know, both work. Just to simplify, it's your index finger playing a bar on the first 3 strings. So you want to have this note here, the B, with the pinky on the 7th fret on the 1st string, and then you want to have the bass here. So then you want to have bass. Want to have the bass with the thumb being on the 4th string, 6th fret. Then you want to do a little hammer on 2nd and 3rd, playing 5th and 6th respectively. And you're plucking it as you also take the fingers off. So okay, then you want to play B and A and B. So 5th and 7th fret on the 1st strings, on the 1st string. And you want to tap on the 11th. And then you want to create this beautiful shape here. So what happens here is you prepare, you've primed the notes B and C sharp on the first string with your index and ring finger, or middle, whatever you want to do. I prefer ring. And then you tap with your index finger on the 11th of the right hand, the index finger of the right hand, right, on the 11th, and you want to pluck with your thumb right around the 13th fret. And you pluck with the thumb to create that D sharp. And then you want to pluck away, flick off that index finger. Sounds like an insult. Flick off. You want to pluck, flick with your index finger right here. So you create the note that is under your ring finger, which is a C sharp, right, on the 9th fret. And then you want to pluck with the ring finger as well. This is kind of a typical classical move sort of thing. Right? Pluck with your ring finger. And you create that B, which is under your index finger. Okay, so... So what is this? This is, okay, this shape, you know, it's like a little bit of a G triad, G major triad, but then there is a B at the bottom. So, you know, like the relative minor and the relative major. So it's like, you know, the relative minor of G is E minor. And they're pretty much an identity. They overlap a lot. You know, when you juxtapose them like this, and then you put an E bass, this becomes an E minor 7th shape, right? It's very simple. Because you have that D, which would be the 5th in G, but it's actually the minor 7th in E. So, you know, it's like smokes and mirrors. Things transform quickly, like... Okay. This is an A7th now, okay? A7th Y. We have G here, then we have a B, 9th, whatever, it's fine. And then we have an F sharp, which turns suddenly into a G, right? Which is the 7th, so we go from 6th to 7th. Now, this is also an A7th shape, right? Oh, by the way, the fingers are, it's from 4th to 1st string is 5th fret, 4th fret, then 2nd and 2nd with a little bar that you prepared up here, and 2nd fret. But what you want to do is you want to pluck just strings 4, 3, and 1. So bass on A on the 5th string right here. Right, and then this. Okay, so this shape here is A 7th, but you might not believe me. But here's that 7th, which is G, right? Then you have, and it's, by the way, 4th string, 5th fret. Then you have on 3rd string, 6th fret, which is the 3rd, just major 3rd, nothing to it. Now here, when you think of chords and you have to analyze them, and this is something that you want to do more and more, but the more you think simple, the more you're going to be able to create your own chords. The way I think simple is like, you know, this is a E shape. You want to think of what each note is doing. So like, for example, the first 3 are very easy because they're 1st and 1st on 6th and 4th fret. You have the 5th in between, which is B, which is the 5th interval, interval wise. I should have said that. I'm talking about intervals, right? The function of each note in the chord. This is the 5th, which is just the B, you know, in relation to E. Then you have the 3rd, major 3rd, which is G sharp, on the 3rd string. And then right here you have another B, which is the 5th, once again. So, sorry. So when I create even the bar shapes that come from the original open chord positions, I still think of the function. So if I see this as compared to this, I immediately realize that it's 6th, right? So it's A7th with an added 6th. And also an added 9th, or 2nd, which is, you know, if this is the root, right? This is the 2nd. It's the note right after it, like... Yeah. So it's the 2nd note of the scale of A. So it's, you know, 6th and 9th with a 7th. So... Then you want to put your index finger down. So you create that A on the 1st string. So. And then you want to have this note, E note, G note on the B string. So. With your pinky. And now this is the lush, the most beautiful money chord here. Money chord. This is C major 7th. All that it is, and it's from 6th string to 3rd string. It's 3 3 2 2 as far as frets are concerned. But you play all of them, so you have these beautiful notes ringing out. Okay, what you have here is the fret is always 2, and the strings you're using are 5, 3, and 2. So what you want is this. So from here. Okay, now you have B7th once again. So this was all B7th. Just different shapes to achieve different melodies here. So right here we have an E melody. You want to pluck it twice, and then you have a B7th once again, but play it like this, kind of like this, and you want to have that pinky free, not playing the whole, you know, A7th derived B7th shape. So you also have the 9th here. By the way, if you think about it, that's a 9th. We'll come to it later. So okay, then you have E major 7th shape. Now, how do we know this? This is D major 7th, right? Because this is D. Then you lower the octave, or the first, right? And you get that C sharp, which is the major 7th. Then you transform it into a bar. And guys, by the way, you don't have to ask anybody's permission. Any shape that you do in first position, there is a way to transform it into a bar. And I say this in this kind of funny way because this epiphany came to me so late. Like, it's funny how sometimes as a guitarist you just need to just have your brain work a different way, and teachers help a lot in that. Like, I'm so grateful to my teacher. And basically the point is just thinking differently about things you already do, and that's a lot of the epiphanies that you will have on guitar, a lot of them. So, oh, by the way, all of these are like anagrams of the, this is the normal arpeggio, a lot of anagrams. So I just play it real slow so you can figure it out by ear. So from here, like here. This is the original. So yeah, it's first and sixth string. And this is the shape. The shape don't lie. It's from fifth to first. It's a 2 2 4 4 4. Okay, now this here is once again a B7th shape. What we have is a 4th and a 9th. So it's like, what it comes down to is like just a bar, which is very easy. Okay, but yeah, there's the harmony is beautiful. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to alternate between F sharp and G sharp on the first string. So then you want to play open B on the second string, and then F7th, dominant 7th, which is a substitute, tritone substitute of B7th, which is a very nice way to end the first section, the first A, and actually create a little bit of tension, because this is the 7th degree, it's a typical cadenza, to do another A. So that's all that happens. I'll play it for you, the first A and then the second A, and when we get to the second A, I'll stop to show you what changes, which is pretty much nothing. So now it just came to me that maybe I should play it a little slower. So by the way, I don't need to play slower, and you don't need me to play slower, because and this is the beautiful trick with YouTube. You can just slow down. You hold shift as you push down on okay, I have a European keyboard, but basically you want to push down on the key that is next to M, right? To me, it's a semicolon. I don't know about international keyboards. I don't know what you guys got, but like basically the point is that there's shortcuts to slow down by 25% and actually speed up, which is the key right to the right of the one to slow down as you hold down shift. And that's just something that is built into YouTube, and it's wonderful for students of all kinds, even language students. Okay, you can figure this stuff out by yourself. And then also there's tools that are like Chrome plugins that actually help you slow down even more granular, even get into that like 10% slow down kind of thing, and actually speed up by a great factor, which I suggest is what you do with this lesson, because I always talk very slowly, and so you can actually speed up. And also I will give you this little tidbit. It's wonderful when you're studying to speed up. It's wonderful for reviewing, and also if there's parts that are easier, and it's also good for cramming, which is something that as a student you shouldn't do, but actually you should do it because you get so much more knowledge in that span of time. So do it. I don't know. I'm not a very good teacher, but that's something that I do, I guess. So to get back to the song, I played slowly, very slowly the first A. I'll play a little faster the second A, and then I'll give you the ending of the second A. Future Francis, I just remembered that the second time he plays the A section. Also, what he does is not just this. He also does this, which is different. But how different is it? It's just a little trill where he plays actually. Forget the index finger. What he does, he uses the thumb to pluck and get that B note, no, C sharp note here, right? On the 9th fret. So then he taps and gets the 11th. And then he plucks with the thumb again, getting the 9th fret again, that C sharp. So altogether, which faster becomes this. Okay, a little variation. You gotta know about that, and that's pretty much all the changes between the A section and the A prime section that is in the ending, right? And with that said, back to the rest of the lesson. All he does here to change it is he plays a little hammer on the 3rd string going from 2nd to 4th fret. And then he plays that top E string, being an F sharp, the note that he plays. Now here he plays the 1st and 6th string open E at the same time. Now if you analyze the note of this little chord that I'm about to show you, realize it's just an E6. That's all it is. Because you have a G sharp, which is the major 3rd. No big whoop there. And then you have that C sharp, which actually is a whole tone higher than B, being the 5th of the chord. So you realize it's just a 6th, you know? So, very slowly. Now you're sliding this little shape, which is just fret 6 and fret 6 on strings respectively, 5 and 4. You want to slide it down to the 7th fret, okay? So slide it up, actually. I have to think of pitch when I give these hints, okay? So, okay, now this is a B minor 7th sort of shape, okay? You want to think of it that way. So, you follow me here, you follow me, okay? Good. You guys are real rock stars. So, is I'm playing bass and 4th string on this shape here, which is like the same as before, just with a B bass on the 6th string. Okay. Now what I did here is I lowered the note by 1 semitone on the 4th string, going from 7th fret to 6th fret, and I changed the bass to that thumping E. Sorry, I'm a goof. Right, so that's pretty much all we did. We turned this from a B 7th to an E 7th. Why? Think of the cowboy chord, open chord here. It's a C 7th. You bring it all the way here. Same reasoning as before. You have the 7th here. You have the 3rd, which is what we did when we lowered from a 7th to 6th fret on the 4th string, right? That's all that happened. Now we get to this beautiful shape. Francis, you don't even know how to talk anymore. Okay, so basically what we have here is an A minor 7th. Okay, guys. You will analyze the notes. Okay, analyze the notes. You do it because one of the two things that I want you to do, sometimes I'll go a little faster because when you figure out actually what's being played with your ears, guys, and this is major breakthrough for me. The satisfaction it gives you, okay? It's so much better. And you did it all by yourself. So some of the time I will just arpeggiate because you know the shape and just figure out what's going on. That's really good training. I could have even just given you no shape and told you what's this interval that's being played here. But like, you know, you gotta have something to get somewhere, you know. You just gotta have a little something to start with. So you don't get nothing from nothing. So I show you a little bit, but then the arpeggio, I tell you, this is the shape, you know, you figure out the notes, that's fine, that's good enough. So this time, do a little bit of work, tell me what these notes are, but I'll tell you this is an A minor 7th, okay? So if you find notes that have nothing to do with it, you might realize you're wrong. But this is an A minor 7th shape. And of course, that's made even more clear by the fact that we play an A bass, right? So then we play top E note here on the 12th fret twice. Oh, and by the way, the shape is 0 on the 5th string. Then you have 10, 12, 10, 12 going down to that E string. These are the frets. These numbers, these are cane numbers that I always say are the frets, by the way. So yeah, the long and the short of it. Okay, you want to play this shape here, which we've seen before, kinda, because before we saw it like this. We saw it like this. All right, now this time we lowered the note on the 2nd string. So we went from a 6th to a raised 5th. Because the notes that we have from 4th string to 1st are 10, 11, 11, and 12. Okay? So basically, what we got here is a D7th, right? So we move from A minor 7th to D7th. So this is the motion. Oh, by the way, the chords. I should show you the chords of the section before playing it. Before giving you like the actual intricacies of what is actually being performed. So A minor 7 to D7th to G, E minor 7th, A minor 7th. What does he play here? G again. Moving on to, this is just a little something to, you know, throw yourself back in. So this is E minor 7th flat 9th, and this is what happens. Oh, to play it in E open position so that you realize the identity of the chords even better. A minor, okay, A minor to D7th to G to A minor 7th to A minor D7th G to this shape here, which is the 7th with a flat 9th. What am I doing here? Flat 9th. So it's F sharp, lowered F sharp. So it's like this. Oh my god, what am I doing? There we go. So basically, let's actually play what is being played. Okay, so it's this shape here. This is a G with a 3rd in the root on the bass. Okay. Then you want to have this note up here, which is the 15th fret on the 1st string. Don't get it mixed up. It's very simple. And you want to tap it. And you want to play the bass on the E, which suggests the fact that this E minor 7th shape. This, by the way, is your, you know, scholarly E minor 7th. That's all it is, okay? It's very childlike. So you want to play that E the 2nd time. Okay, this we saw before in the A section. All you're doing is you're plucking with your thumb and then you're flicking off with your index. Okay, so for those of you who are paying attention, what shape is this? You already know, because right here it was an E minor 7th. So here, considering that the bass is on the 4th string, 7th fret, we're looking at an A minor. Guys, you got it. You want to tap on the 14th fret, playing that F sharp. And as you're tapping, you remove all of your fingers from the left hand, and what you want to do is you want to play a D7th, right? And now, the way you usually play this A7th that's derived from the open position A, is you play it with your ring and pinky. I mean, that's the way I do it, okay? So what you want to do here, actually, is you want to play it with your middle and ring. in front of the index bar. That way you have your pinky free for a lot of pinky action, which is always very fun. And you put that pinky finger on the 8th fret of the first string. So there you go. So you want to do the same thing as before. You pluck with your thumb, and then you flick off with your index. Okay. Moving on to that 8. Now this shape here, for those of you who are paying attention, once again, what is this? I'll just let you choose, but remember what this was, so you'll know what this is. By the way, the frets on this one are from 4th to 1st string. They are 5 7 5 7. Okay, and they're very nice symmetrical shape. Okay, so to play it all from the top, so. Here we stop on the 2nd string, we play that E to get to that E7th with a flat 9th, right? That's all that's going on here, guys. It's very simple. But it's not as simple, because what he does here is to get to this shape here, it lets you suffer a bit, because he plays a little descending semitonal kind of melody sort of thing. So it starts actually with this shape here, which is from string 4 to string 2, 6, 7, and 8th fret, right? Okay, so from here. And lowers the pinky to the 7th fret on the 2nd string to create the 2nd note of this melody. And then it finishes with the middle finger hitting the 6th fret on the 2nd string. So all together. Play that E at the very top. You figure this stuff out with your ears, guys. You can do it. Okay, now the first B is done, and now you realize it's the same shapes. Literally, it's just the ending that varies a little bit, but pretty much the same shapes. So he arpeggiates here, but same story. Now, what you want to do for this part of the melody is you want to slide down from E to D. So it's a little addition. It's just a little variation on the same melody, guys. Don't get it mixed up. So now here something happens that's very nice. Okay. You want to slide down after this. You want to tap it again. You want to slide down, but as you're sliding down, you create the A minor 7 shape. So all together. Okay. Okay, this time you don't want to do the thing where you pluck with your thumb and then with your index finger and you flick off, because flick off always sounds like an insult. I just can't help myself. I'm a giggling buffoon. So yeah, the second time you do it, what you want to do is you're coming here. The last note that you do when you do this little strummy thing is the first note, is this C, is the first note of the final melodic line, okay? So what you want to do is you want to just make it part is just strumming down of that line again, that melodic line that is like on first string, C C B A B. Okay, what you want to do as well is you want to slide with the index finger, because all these fingers are gonna be game for a very beautiful chord, which is this. Okay, here we go. Okay, this here, guys, is just F sharp a minor 7th, okay? Now, this is the full version of it, but you will often see this being played, which is, by the way, the notes are, on 5th you have 9th fret, on 3rd you have 9th fret again, and on 2nd you have 10th fret. Okay, simplified version, and this is really handy because what you can do is you can lower the bass by one semitone, and you're now on 8th fret. And this is really good, guys. It's really good because what it does is it actually allows you to play an F major 7th. So as you can see, this shape can be, you can slide it around. It's very handy for doing this kind of run where you just, you know, it's a little bit more cumbersome. These shapes, they fly off the fretboard real quick. They're very nice. So it's just this, right? But with the added 11th, which is actually B, so that's the 4th. I mean, the 11th is the 4th, guys. So yeah. So what is this? This shape here is a B7th with a raised 5th, sharp 5th. Because here's what's going on. You're playing root, right, on a 6th string, 7th fret. Then you're playing the 7th fret also on the 4th string, so that gives you the minor 7th. Right, these two are frets 8 and 8 respectively on 2nd and 3rd string. So that's where you get the 3rd on the 3rd string, 8th fret, and where you get the raised 5th. Remember the function that we talked about before? On the 2nd string, 8th fret. And then you get that B at the top, which is the same thing as the root, right? And then you have this little hammer-on that throws you back into the A section. I don't have to explain anything up to this point. Like the A section, you should have it by now. So I'll just play it. Oh, by the way, no, there's a little thing that you gotta do here. You also add the G sharp before the A and B, so that it creates a little, you know, climbing sort of motion, and that's wonderful because later we will have a beautiful descending motion. So it's like contrast. These things are like, they're very clever. So it does. And be prepared because what comes next is gonna blow your mind. What it does here is it always does this motion. The motor of it all is this. You flick off and you hammer on in this order. You started like this, so it's easier shown than explained. But basically what he's doing is he's creating a pedal here where this note repeats this D sharp or B flat. And what you have is a descending. So, sorry. You want to get to the 4th fret, and then you want to create that slide. And you want to fall into this shape, which we've seen before is that E minor 7th shape. There you go, pretty easy, right? No, sorry. Yeah. We've seen all of this before, guys, so super simple. And then we have this, the ending. It's basically the ending. And what he does is something that harkens back to the days of blues, and maybe even before that, to the dawn of time itself. Let's not wax poetic, lyrical too much. But basically it's this. You know, I would like to think of it that way. So it's the ending. There is a lot of tension, and we want to fall onto that final release of the tension. And what we do is we go from G7th to F sharp 7th to F 7th, right? And all of this we do just with 2 fingers, and we're playing the 1st and the 3rd and the major 3rd. So you have to think, for example, G, it's this, right? Is 6th string 3rd fret and 3rd string 4th fret. Okay, it's just that. And always he creates this pedal where the E note at the top open string, the simple open string, remains always the same. So what he does is this. I could explain note by note, but you'll do it by ear. But it's very simple. I just gave you the ingredients. His E remains the same, and these fall down. So. Then open B string. That's all that happens in this entire song. And if you made it this far, you are the real rock stars, and you are you're real champs. Thank you for going all the way through with it. And the satisfaction that comes from knowing a tune like this and understanding it is, it just gets you that much further, because all this stuff, like, these patterns, like second, minor second, we're in G, right? Minor second, B in A minor, to D7th, B in the 5th, going to the 1st, going to the relative minor. This stuff is like classic. It's not just jazz. It harkens back to the dawn of humanity, even classical music. This stuff is just congenial to the ear. So all I'm saying is, if you know these things, they will work for you in any genre. And, I heard this explained the best. I think it was Rick Beato. The man is just a YouTube treasure. And what he says is, sometimes we're condescending and we're a little patronizing with babies. We go goo goo gaga, but like, how do babies learn to talk? Because some of the time we just talk to them, assuming they're like, adults basically, and we just don't filter anything out. Sometimes they even hear things that they should not hear. But yeah, basically my point being that the more you listen to complex things, and you don't understand everything, but if you repeat it, and every time you repeat this listening experience, you hear patterns, you start recognizing patterns, then those patterns come to your advantage. Also when you're just creating, as I said before. Or maybe when you are improvising, like you go to A minor, moving to D7th, moving to G, moving to E minor. So there you go. Once you know them, then the possibilities are endless. And it's just about making a list of these things inside of you, just understanding them, and then you create the path to also improvising. It's just, people think that improvising is just going random. No, and you would have very frustrating results if you just think that, I have wonderful inspiration inside of me. I feel the music so hard that I can just go and grab an instrument and do it. No, it's not necessarily about that. It's about letting all the work and the paths that you laid within you, all these paths, speak for you. But you have to do a little bit of work before, just a little bit. And that is the euphemism of the century, to just let these things kind of, work their way inside of you, and then they will speak for themselves. And that's when you let inspiration talk, and you let your fingers run wild. But you have to do a lot of work before, and all of these things I learned thanks to my teacher, just wonderful teacher. And so I hope I was half or even a quarter of what he is to me, and teaching me and showing me all of these beautiful things. And take all of what I said with a grain of salt, because I consider myself an eternal scholar. I'm not well learned, as it were. And, you do your own work, and it gives you so much more satisfaction. So I showed you everything I know for this song. So I prepared an outro. So break your chains, let loose, and play some tunes. Good night.